What's up, guys? Welcome to the video and welcome to a beautiful day in autumn. This is the Mercedes-Benz EQB. Before I get started on the dope features of this Mercedes-Benz EQB, I want to give a huge thank you to Mercedes-Benz Bill Hamstad. They are responsible for this Mercedes-Benz, so a huge thank you to them for the Mercedes-Benz EQB. All right, let's go on with the dope features of this Mercedes-Benz. So the EQB is based on the GLB. Now the GLB is the gas-powered version of this car. That means it has an internal combustion engine. Obviously, this is the electric version of the GLB, which is of course the EQB. Mercedes lineup of electric cars starts with EQ. I just read the EQE. Now this is the EQB. I love the clean design, which is pretty sweet for me. The boxy shape of this EQB is really great, especially when it comes to headroom and interior space in the Mercedes-Benz EQB. All right, there's something particular about this EQB that I would want to talk about, which is almost not common in electric crossovers, but then it's present in this EQB I have here. Before that, I want to talk on the various trim levels of this EQB. All right, there are two trim levels of the Mercedes-Benz EQB currently. There's the EQB 300 and the EQB 350, which I have here. All EQB models come with four-wheel drive as standard. That means an electric motor at the front and an electric motor at the back. But then the EQB 300 makes lesser power than the EQB 350. Now this EQB 350 makes about 292 horsepower and about 500 newton meters of electric torque. But then in the EQB 300, that makes at about 220 horsepower and about 380 newton meters of electric torque. Now the two electric motors of this Mercedes-Benz EQB is good for a 0 to 60 time of about 6.1 seconds, which is not all that fast, but I think it's pretty adequate for this electric vehicle, especially when it comes to the size of this vehicle and the power it makes. All right, this EQB 350 is equipped with a 66 kilowatt hour of usable battery capacity, which is good for an electric range of 350 kilometers. It's also equipped with 110 kilowatt DC fast charging, which can charge this EQB from 0 to 80% in 30 minutes. But then if you use an 11 kilowatt AC charger, then it takes 7 hours. The charging speed of this EQB is not that high, especially when you compare it to the Mercedes-Benz EQE that charges in a much more faster time. Speaking of the Mercedes-Benz EQE, if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Coming around back of the Mercedes-Benz, the LED brake lights here, which is pretty common now in the auto industry, and it's pretty sweet to have it here. Clean and nice design. On the back, to go into the boot, pretty simple. You push on the badge here. All right, this Mercedes-Benz EQB is spec'd with the third row seating, which is not really common in full-size or electric crossovers. Apart from Tesla, which is the Model X and the Model Y that has 3-row seating as optional specifications, the EQB also has 3-row seating as an optional specification. When the third row seats are up, the boot space is very little. But then when you have the third row seats folded down, then you have 495 liters of boot space, which is not bad. And then in front of the Mercedes-Benz EQB, of course, there's no internal combustion engine, so this part of the front of the Mercedes-Benz EQB is basically covered, and then you have the front parking on the rear end. Some of the driving radars of the adaptive cruise control of this Mercedes-Benz EQB is also hidden at the back of this Mercedes-Benz logo here. Something that is becoming common in the motor industry is also light bars in front of the Mercedes-Benz EQB. And then the EQB comes standard with 19-inch Bridgestone tires, which are really comfortable, especially when driving the Mercedes-Benz EQB. All right, let's check out the interior of the Mercedes-Benz EQB. Interior space in the back of this Mercedes-Benz EQB is really good, thanks to the boxy shape. I have good enough headroom. Knee space is also great. I love the red stitching, which is a theme carried all over the interior, to the front and back seats, and also the doors of the Mercedes-Benz. Now, the third row seating of the Mercedes-Benz EQB is not really for adults because there is no much space in the third row. But then there are some few things in the third row. There are two USB Type-C and a cup holder. But then this middle is the most adequate seating space for backseat occupants. And then of course, there's an armrest with cup holders that pop out, which is nice. Also, there are air vents for backseat occupants and one USB Type-C. I love that this EQB is equipped with panoramic glass roof, even though it's divided into two. But then having a panoramic glass roof is good for giving the EQB a really nice and airy feel. The interior quality in the EQB is superb. The materials of the seats and the doors, they are really high quality. The seats are soft and comfortable, which is nice. But then the best place I would love to be in the Mercedes-Benz EQB is in front. Mercedes-Benz doesn't disappoint when it comes to the interior of their cars, especially in front. So one thing I particularly love about the interior of this EQB is, of course, these turbine style air vents here, which are really, really nice. And then they are really high quality. I love that feel you get. I'm also glad that there are buttons for the climate control or the temperature controls of the Mercedes-Benz EQB. I mean, electric cars these days are all going full touchscreen. Even the Mercedes-Benz EQE, it's all full touchscreen. They are very easy to navigate and figure out, and the buttons are they just have this nice and clicky feel to them. The nice feature in the climate control of the EQB is when you adjust your temperature, either hot or cold, the interior LED lights in the EQB, especially the ones in the air vent, they kind of change. When you go to cold, it changes into blue. And then when you go to hot, it changes into red, which is pretty nice. All right, let's talk about the tech and the screens in this Mercedes-Benz.
All right, the 10.3 inch of the infotainment system is really nice. I love the graphics. This is not the latest MBUX system for Mercedes. The latest MBUX is found in the EQE. This is the older generation of the MBUX, but still it's so clear, very easy to navigate, very easy to figure out with lots of menus and functions built into the screen. Mercedes-Benz have also built a redundant control to this screen. If you don't want to use the touch screen, you can decide to use this touch tab here. And then one thing about the touch tab is when you move it or when you make a selection, you get haptic feedback and an audible click that you've made a selection. On the right side of the steering wheel, on the top part here, this is to navigate the different menus, and you swipe your fingers and then you press it to make a selection. You have your back button and your home button, and then you have some few controls that have been logically placed on the center console here. You have your volume button, which is really nice, and then you have your button for your navigation, your radio button, all the shortcut buttons, your telephone. The button marked star here is for you to designate a shortcut of your choosing. You have your buttons for your assistant control here, which brings up a quick menu for your assistant controls. And then this button here is for the advanced parking system of the Mercedes-Benz EQB. This EQB is also equipped with the self-park feature. When you press that button, and you can put on that system and it can park itself. Now your next button is the dynamic control button. This brings up the custom driving modes for the Mercedes-Benz EQB. You have sports, eco, comfort, and individual. In the settings here, it's pretty easy to use. You have your phone connection, and then one thing about this infotainment screen, it also has proximity sensor. When you bring your fingers close and then you see that the information pop out to give you more information. You have your navigation. It's pretty easy to set in the navigation, and then the map of the Mercedes is just so clear. The graphics on the map, very easy to put in your destination. You can choose to use the handwriting feature. You can just write in your destination and it recognizes handwriting. You can choose to manually type in your destination. MBUX is a very good system. Then you have your radio control, your media control. Now this EQB is also equipped with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly, so you can hook up your Android phone or your Apple phone. You have the comfort settings. You can put on that feature and it kind of makes the driver more alert, or it kind of has some few massaging functions, which Mercedes-Benz calls seat kinetics. I particularly love the EQ icon here when you go into that, of course, because this is an electric car. It just shows your different menus for your consumption, your energy flow, and the battery percentage. In the consumption, you can see some features that are taking power or they are taking energy from the electric battery. Right now, the driving takes 73% of the battery, but then you have your heating and cooling, and then you have other functions or other features in the car which takes up electric battery. Still in the EQ menu of the Mercedes-Benz, the charging programs. Now, you can set a charging program for the EQB, whether you're at home or at work, and you can set it to how much percentage or how much battery you want to have when you are at home or when you are at work, which is pretty nice. And then you have your vehicle settings. Now in these vehicle settings, you can see all the vehicle and driving functions. This Mercedes-Benz is equipped with a really nice heads-up display, which shows a good amount of information, which is really nice. It has traffic sign recognition, which is also good. And then you have your consumption gauge also on the heads-up display. That is really handy to have. You can configure the steering assist, and you can configure the lane keep assist. I love how intuitive it is. The graphics are really nice and good. Now to control the driver's information display are these buttons on the left side of the steering wheel. On the top part of the steering wheel, this button here, which you can use to swipe to different menus, and then you have your back and home button. One thing I love about this screen is that you can click and then you can change the different views of this screen. You can configure what view or what information you would like to be displayed, and then you can also change the display of the gauges. You can change it to the sports settings if you would like it, and it brings up a sports screen. You can change it to the progressive, comes on, and then you can just put in your standard Mercedes display, which is really nice. Very easy to use the screen, very easy to change, those settings. And then we have it in classic. You can also use these buttons to change the information on the heads-up display. When you go into that, you go into the heads-up display, and then you can swipe on the different information you would like to have on the heads-up display, whether the gauges or the maps, or you can just leave it on empty. You can also choose to have the map settings on the driver's information display. All in all, I really love the two screens in the EQB. I really love how configurable they are, from the heads-up display to the infotainment system screen, and I love the technology in this screen. That is really nice. I love how easy it is to use and figure out these screens. And so the EQB is a well-sophisticated, high-tech premium electric crossover from Mercedes. Is it the perfect electric 7-seater? Leave that in the comment box below. And do consider subscribing to this channel. That's it for me. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.